Other things can cause this, such as neck problems, orthopedic problems, back problems, can also limit someone's head from moving often simply because their neck hurts. And so what can happen is you have an orthopedic problem, say from a neck injury or just neck pain in general, and then that feeds into the balance problem or vestibular problem or a chicken or egg problem where you have what came first. Did the neck problem come first or did the vestibular problem come first? And sometimes we don't even know because both have been going on for so long. So someone can get a neck injury and then they don't move their head. And since they don't move their head, then their balance system declines and they can even end up with dizziness simply because they're not moving their head for a long period of time. Or it can go the reverse route where they are having a balance problem or a vestibular problem. They're getting dizziness for some reason and they stop moving their head and then their neck muscles tighten up and then they start having neck pain. And if these two things have gone on long enough, sometimes it can be difficult to figure out what came first. And so sometimes we try to tease that out. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. We basically find a solution by addressing both. And that goes back to the individualized solution part of all this. So finding the root cause of the problem is very, very important with balance disorders. Back to generalized balance training, it might be just kind of generally giving somebody the same type of exercises, standing eyes open, eyes closed, standing on one leg and walking while turning one's head, and some things like this, but it may or may not figure out what is actually causing the balance problem. So do they have a balance problem because they actually have complete proprioceptive loss? Their legs are not telling the brain about where their legs are in space. And if that is a problem, then that's very different from someone who has a weak vestibular system, but their proprioception is perfectly intact. The outcome for that person with certain tasks is going to be very different because that proprioception you're not going to be able to get back if it's actually completely gone. And so you have to compensate for that by strengthening their vestibular system. You have to improve their confidence. You have to improve their walking. You have to compensate for that proprioceptive loss. And so again, the outcome with certain tasks, especially going up and down stairs with or without a railing, can be very different if the person has a very severe or complete proprioceptive loss. Other potential causes of balance problems can be more orthopedic or muscular in nature. So hip weakness, so our side rear end muscles not being strong enough. This is a very common problem in the population as a whole, and especially common with the older population. Why? Because they've been living longer, and how often do we move side to side in our daily lives unless if we're rollerblading or going to CrossFit and doing band walks or something. How often do we actually activate our side rear end muscles and move side to side? And if we're not doing those sorts of things, then those muscles tend to get weaker and decline as we get older. And these muscles can get weak, especially relative to the level of performance that we're trying to do. So it's not uncommon at all for elite athletes. Take a 16-year-old kid who's playing very advanced sports in high school,